Davis, Pawnee. Too many chairs circle the rickety kitchen table, a table where everyone has a place, whether family, friends, or visiting strangers like ourselves. Over this oilcloth-covered Formica tabletop, with its comforting coffee stains, tales have been told, gossip has been passed, grief has been expressed, and above all, legends have been retold. Uncle Frank, as he's affectionately known, Fancy Warrior is his Indian name, takes his favorite seat and with a sweep of his hand gestures for us to sit down. He motions at the cold biscuits on the lazy Susan.
Plenty for everyone. Coffee's brewing.
We've been told by several Pawnee that Uncle Frank is the preeminent local spiritual elder, a leader of the peyote ceremony, but he denies any special knowledge.
We don't have real medicine men anymore. It's one thing to be a medicine man to whites, and another thing to Indians. I'm not even a chief, and wouldn't want to be one.
He's reluctant to speak about the peyote ceremony.
And white people just don't understand it. And there's nothing secret about peyote. It's just a sacred plant to help open the self up to receive certain vibrations. It should never be abused. The plant would be offended. It could even kill you.
He mentions he collects the peyote for his own ceremonies in Texas, and seems about to tell us more when he thinks better of it and waves a hand in the air, deflecting any further questions on the subject. His wife has recently died, and mementos to a long marriage fill every available space on the walls. The windows are still draped in mourning. The house has remained almost untouched since her passing. Her absence is palpable. A telephone book sits on the chair that was hers, as if to discourage any thought of sitting there. A fine dust has settled over things, but it can't cover the emptiness she's left. Yet he smiles, genuinely happy to spin a yarn for a while, instead of sitting by himself indulging sad memories.
So you've come about wisdom. Well, I'll tell you a story. Remember, it's just a story, though. My mother was a good woman. I thought she was the wisest person in the whole world. So one day, when I was just a little feller, maybe 7 or 6, I asked her how I could become wise like her. She just laughed and laughed, and said I was awfully young to be asking such questions. But she said, since I had asked, she would tell me. Life is like a path, she said, smiling down at me, and we all have to walk the path. If we lay down, we even lay down on that path. If we live through the night, we have to get up and start walking down that path again. As we walk down that path, we'll find experiences like little scraps of paper in front of us along the way. We must pick up those pieces of scrap paper and put them in our pockets. And every single scrap of paper we come to should be put in that pocket. Then one day, we will have enough scraps of paper to put together and see what they say. Maybe we'll have enough to make some sense. Read the information and take it to heart. Then put the pieces back in that pocket and go on, because there will be more pieces to pick up. Later, we can pull them out and study them, and maybe learn a little more. If we do this all through life, we will know when to pull out those scraps to read more of the message. The more we read, the more we'll learn the meaning of life. We can become wise, or at least wiser than we were.
Uncle Frank seems to be looking at his mother as he speaks, as if listening to her say those words spoken so long ago.
She said, but if we never pick up those scraps of paper and never read them, we'll never become wiser. We'll keep on wondering about life and never learn the Creator's instructions. Remember one thing, she said with her finger pointed straight at me. Even if we pick up all those scraps, we'll still be learning. Nobody ever learns all the answers.
He leans forward in his chair.
I've always tried to pick up the scraps of paper, like my mother said.
He smiles, almost chortling.
Missed a few, though. After that, some things just never made sense. Still try to figure out what was on those missing scraps?
Now he leans back. The smile fades. Tears brim in his eyes.
Last night I saw my wife. She came in my sleep. I know it was her. She called my name. She was standing on the other side of a wide road. She said she wanted to be with me, but she couldn't get across the road. She said I'd have to be the one to cross the road if I wanted to be with her. She put out her hand. She's calling me.
In the dim room, his face is barely a silhouette against the draped window. A tear on his cheek catches a glint of light.
I miss her so, and I think I'll be going over soon.
Leon Shenandoah, Six Nations Iroquois Confederacy. He bears an ancient title, Tadadaho, presiding moderator or Speaker of the House of the 50 co-equal peace chiefs comprising the Grand Council of the Six Nations Iroquois Confederacy in Upper New York State. The still-living confederacy, composed originally of the Mohawk, the Seneca, the Onondaga, the Oneida, the Cayuga, and later the Tuscarora, was founded about 1000 A.D. by a prophet called the Peacemaker, who brought a great law of peace to the then warring Iroquois peoples. Only one obstacle stood in the way of a peaceful union: the original Tadadaho, a ferocious snake-haired Onondaga wizard who, after bitter resistance, was finally persuaded to join the Confederacy by the Peacemaker and his lieutenant Iowentha, or Hiawatha, an Iroquois title erroneously applied to an Ojibwe culture hero in Longfellow's Song of Hiawatha. To appease the original Tadadaho and bring him into the fold, the Peacemaker made Onondaga the Confederacy's capital and named the 14 chiefs of the Onondaga as keepers of the central fire, a fire that burns to this day in the Onondaga Longhouse. Today, more than 200 Tadadahos later, the venerable title and office have devolved upon Leon Shenandoah, formerly sub-chief or faith-keeper of the Eel clan of the Onondaga Nation.
I no longer serve a clan. The Tadadaho must give up his clan interests and serve all the people of the Confederacy.
In 1971, shortly after becoming Tadadaho, he won national notice when he confronted New York State highway crews trying to add a lane to Interstate 81, where it slices through the Onondaga Nation's territory. Some call it a reservation just south of Syracuse. Drawing a symbolic line with his ceremonial condolence cane across the road leading into Onondaga, Chief Shenandoah announced,
"The United States stops here."
He then led a 2-month sit-down on the construction site in a tense face-off against heavily armed state police. Negotiation finally won the day. The highway was widened, but only by a few feet, and a bloody showdown was narrowly averted. Ironically, the same state troopers involved at Onondaga were then dispatched to put down the infamous riot at Attica State Prison, where dozens of prisoners died in a hail of gunfire.
Those bullets were meant for us. The prisoners at Attica took the killing instead of us. That's the way it was with the buffalo, too. They took the killing instead of the Indian people. They died and we lived. If we had taken all the killing, we wouldn't be here today.
He sits at the dining room table in his cozy frame house, smoking a well-scuffed pipe. His smiling wife, Thelma, brings coffee to the two visitors. The sound of children's laughter, they have more than a dozen grandchildren, several of whom live here, echoes through the house.